My name's Lila Carter, 25 years old, raised in the sun-scorched flatlands of Lubbock, Texas, where the horizon stretches forever and the wind carries dust that stings your eyes. After 6 years of grinding through night classes, slinging plates at a greasy diner, and teaching myself graphic design on a secondhand laptop, I earned a degree in visual arts from Texas Tech. My graduation day was supposed to be my moment. Mom and Dad in the crowd, clapping proud, my older sister Hannah maybe giving me a nod for once. Instead, the 3 seats I'd saved in the packed auditorium sat empty, like a punch to the gut. I told myself they were stuck at the feed store, maybe planning a surprise dinner. But as I crossed the stage, my phone buzzed in my pocket. It was a text from Mom, a photo of her, Dad, and Hannah at a barrel racing competition in Odessa. Hannah beaming in her cowboy hat, captioned, "Our girl's gonna take the crown." My heart cracked like dry Texas clay. My biggest day, erased for Hannah's rodeo dreams. If you've ever been shoved aside by the family that's supposed to lift you up, tell me where you're reading this from. I need to know I'm not alone in this hurt. Growing up on our family's little ranch outside Lubbock, I was the quiet younger sister, the one who mucked stalls and patched fences without a fuss. Hannah, 3 years older, was the golden girl, tall, bold, with a laugh that charmed everyone. Mom called her our rodeo queen, and Dad spent weekends driving her to competitions across the state. To neighbors, we were the Carter sisters, just 2 Texas girls. But at home, the favoritism hit like a dust storm. Hannah got shiny boots and a custom saddle for a halfway decent ride. I got her old jeans and a good job for keeping the barn tidy. I was 11 when Mom set a store-bought cake on the kitchen table for my birthday, half the icing smudged, saying, "Lila's fine with simple. She's not picky." I forced a smile, cutting it myself while they talked about Hannah's next rodeo. For Hannah's 14th, they turned our backyard into a festival. String lights, a live band, a cake shaped like a horse. I sat on the porch, sipping warm lemonade, watching Hannah twirl with her friends, wondering why I wasn't worth the sparkle. It wasn't just parties. At 10, Hannah broke Mom's favorite vase during a tantrum, and I got scolded for not watching her, even though I was feeding the chickens. They hugged her, cooing, "It's okay, darlin'." I stood there, blamed for nothing, feeling like a ghost. At 16, I designed a poster for the school art fair, won first place. I showed Mom, hoping for a smile. She glanced and said, "Nice, but Hannah's got a big ride tomorrow. Help her polish her boots." I bit my tongue. Weeks later, Hannah placed 4th in a local rodeo, and they threw a barbecue, posting, "Our star's unstoppable." I swept the porch for it, unnoticed. Those moments piled up like tumbleweeds, sharp and heavy. I stopped sharing my sketchbooks, hid my art awards. Teachers asked why I didn't bring my work home. I'd mumble, "I forgot." Friends wondered if my family was proud. I'd lie, "They're busy with the ranch." At night, staring at the chipped paint on my bedroom walls, I'd whisper, "Am I invisible?" College was my escape. I got into Texas Tech's visual arts program with a partial scholarship, years of doodling in the margins of notebooks paying off. I showed Mom and Dad the acceptance letter, expecting a hug. Dad grunted, "Good, now pull your weight." Mom, "At least you've got some scholarship." No celebration, just expectation. The scholarship covered half my tuition, leaving books, rent, and food on me. So I worked like crazy. At dawn, I'd haul myself to a diner off the highway, serving burgers to truckers, my hands sticky with grease. By 10 a.m., I'd race to campus for design classes, still smelling like fries. Afternoons, I cleaned houses. Nights, I freelanced logos for small businesses. My Lubbock apartment was a cramped attic with a creaky fan, but it was mine. I lived on instant coffee and day-old biscuits, saving every tip in a tin can labeled dreams. One scorching July, during a typography lecture, my vision blurred. The room tilted and I collapsed, waking in the campus clinic with a nurse hovering. "Call family?" she asked. I dialed Mom, voice shaky. "I passed out. I'm exhausted." She paused, then said, "You're tough, Lila. Handle it." No visit, no care. Meanwhile, Hannah flunked her community college classes, and my parents paid for her to join a rodeo training camp in Colorado. $30,000 for 6 months, plus cash for gear and travel. They called it her calling. When I asked Dad for $200 for a drawing tablet, he scoffed, "You're creative, make do." One night, bleary from a freelance deadline, I saw Hannah's Instagram, her in a new Stetson hat by a mountain corral, captioned, "Living my dream, thanks to Mom and Dad. Rodeo life." I was eating a stale tortilla. It wasn't the money that hurt, it was the love they gave her, while I got silence. My final year, an extra design course pushed my tuition shortfall to $10,000. I worked triple shifts, designed until my eyes stung, but couldn't bridge the gap. Desperate, I called Dad. "I'm short on tuition. Can you help?" He sighed. "You're independent. Hannah needs us. She's got a big competition." Mom added, "Take a semester off, work more." I wasn't asking for a vacation, just a shot to finish. Crushed, I signed for a $12,000 loan, the interest a weight I'd carry for years. That night, Hannah posted from Colorado, a fancy dinner, her wrist flashing a new silver bracelet, $5,000 easy. Caption, "Spoiled by the best parents, blessed." That could have covered my gap. I cried into my coffee, sketching in my journal, "Why am I always the afterthought?" That's when Tessa Ruiz came into my life. She was my childhood friend, now a graphic designer running a small studio in Lubbock. We'd grown up trading crayons, but she'd always seen me when my family didn't. After my collapse, she found me at the diner, looking like a wreck. "Lila, you're burning out," she said, buying me a milkshake. I spilled everything, Hannah's spotlight, my ignored art, the exhaustion. She listened, then said, "Your work is fire, Lila. Don't let their blindness dull your colors." Tessa became my lifeline, critiquing my designs, slipping me freelance gigs, inviting me to her apartment for tacos and old movies. She'd grown up with a dad who favored her brother, so she got it. "Family's who sees you," she said. Her words were a spark in the dark. Graduation neared, and despite the hurt, I hoped my family would show. I saved for months, stashing tips to book a cozy Mexican restaurant downtown, lanterns glowing, enchiladas steaming, a view of the Lubbock skyline. I bought sunflowers, my favorite since I was a kid, and texted the family group chat. Ceremony at 11 a.m., seats reserved in row C. Dinner after at 2 p.m. Please come, it's my day. No reply. I told myself they'd surprise me, maybe with a proud hug or a card. The auditorium buzzed, families waving signs, cameras flashing, my seats empty. I walked the stage, diploma heavy, applause meaningless without their voices. My phone buzzed, Mom's text, a photo of Hannah at the Odessa rodeo mid-ride, captioned, "Our queen's killing it. Proud." No word for me. I bit my lip so hard it bled, forcing a smile. Tessa was there though, in the back, cheering loud, her grin like a beacon. After, she hugged me tight. "You're a damn artist, Lila." It was something, but it couldn't fill the hole. I canceled the dinner, losing my $150 deposit, and dragged myself to my attic. The sunflowers wilted on my table, my gown a heap on the floor. I sobbed, asking, why am I never enough? Tessa called, "Get over here tomorrow. I'm throwing you a party." At her studio, her team hung streamers, blasted music, and gave me a sketchbook with Lila's art rules painted on it. We ate cupcakes and laughed until my sides hurt. It wasn't my parents, but it was real. A week later, Mom called. "Send $700 for Hannah's rodeo fees. Travel's expensive." I snapped. "I took a $12,000 loan while you fund her horses. Why is it always me?" She sighed. "You're strong. She's passionate." Dad grabbed the phone. "Ungrateful. Want to be alone? Fine. Don't call." The line went dead. I curled up, broken but waking to the truth. Their love was a deal, paid with my silence. I drove to my grandparents' farmhouse in Plainview, needing to breathe. Grandma wrapped me in a quilt, whispering, "Your skin and bones, darlin'." Over pecan pie and coffee, I spilled it all. The empty seats, the rodeo, the loan. Grandpa's eyes blazed. "We've sent your parents $2,000 a month for years. for both your educations." My heart sank. That could have spared my debt, my collapse. It all went to Hannah's saddles, her trips. Grandma's hands shook. We thought they split it fair. They cut off my parents, redirecting funds to me. "This is yours, Lila." Back in Lubbock, my parents called, furious. "You turned your grandparents against us. Traitor!" I stood tall. I told the truth. "You stole from me." They disowned me, yelling, "You're no daughter." A lawyer called next. My grandparents willed me their education fund and farmhouse, $400,000 value. Parents called again, "Thief, you'll pay for this." I replied, "I paid for years with my silence. You betrayed us." I hung up, free. Tessa pushed me to dream bigger. "Austin's your spot," she said, connecting me to a design startup. I moved to a tiny apartment in East Austin, the city's murals and music humming outside my window. At work, my designs, bold, vibrant, landed clients. Colleagues cheered my ideas, not my sacrifices. Tessa visited, bringing her sketch pads, and we stayed up late designing, laughing like kids again. On humid nights, I'd sit on my balcony, reflecting on the old Lila, the girl blamed for broken vases, hiding her art, clutching sunflowers in an empty auditorium. Speaking up saved me. My parents' world fell apart. They sold the ranch at a loss, moving to a rundown trailer. Hannah quit rodeo, working at a feed store. Her queen days faded. They sent emails, half apologies, half blame. I replied once, "Until you see me as your daughter, not a prop, we're done." Tessa's words stuck. Families who chooses you. She was right. This isn't about pity. If you've been the strong one, dimmed to let others shine, know this. You're enough. Love isn't earned by suffering. It's your birthright. Cutting ties isn't loss. It's freedom. Where are you reading from? Let's stand together, no longer shadows.